So in the long run, we talk about entry and exit choices for firms because the difference between the short run and the long run is that in the long run, there is no fixed cost. There is nothing holding you to the market. And so we think about how firms choose to open or close within a market. Okay, so in the long run, we're always focused on this entry and exit decision. And you may remember from intro that if profits are negative in the long run, then firms will exit the market. And that means that supply will decrease, right? As we have fewer firms supplying the market, we're adding up individual firm supply over fewer firms. And as market supply decreases, we're going to see an increase in the price. Of course, always if supply is shifting inward, quantity decrease, price will increase at the market equilibrium. And that price, that's the marginal revenue for the individual firm. So as that price increases, marginal revenue is increasing and profit is increasing for the individual firm. So when profit is negative, we have market forces that push profit up. When profit is positive, we have market forces that push profit down. So remember that if I say economic profits are positive, what it means is that this industry is more profitable than other industries. So what we're going to see is resources flowing out of other industries and into this industry. And we'll see firms enter the market. Of course, that will increase supply because now my market supply is the sum of production at more firms. That will decrease the price as supply shifts out and therefore decrease marginal revenue for the firms, decreasing profit at each individual firm. So as long as profit is negative, the forces are pushing profit up. As long as profit is positive, market forces are pushing profit down. And the equilibrium, the point where there's no force for change, is where profit is equal to zero. In other words, this industry has accounting profits that are equivalent to other industries. Firms are earning the average return on investment. So there's no incentive for firms to leave this industry for better opportunity, and there's no incentive for firms to come into this industry when profits are equal to zero. Now, I want you to recall how we find the profit equal to 0 point, and that is the point where not only is price equal to marginal cost, but it's equal to average total cost, because price is revenue per unit, average total cost is cost per unit, and when they are equal, profit will be zero for the individual firm. So this is our long run competitive equilibrium, and using this, we can now see what will happen in this market and for the individual firms in the long run. So continuing with our example, we want to figure out when is profit for the individual firm equal to zero, and what does that mean about the number of firms that will supply this market in the long run. So if we go back to our individual supply curve graph, we can see that the zero profit point here, where marginal cost and average total cost intersect, occurs at a price of 80. So I know that the profit equal to 0 point in this market will occur at a price of 80. And now we can figure out how much each individual firm will produce based on the individual firm's supply curve. So each individual firm, remember our supply curve was 0 if price is less than 60. Of course, it's bigger than 60 here. and P over 4 minus 10 if price is greater than 60, which it is here. So now I can plug in, I see 80 over 4 minus 10, that's 20 minus 10. And so I can know that at this profit equals 0 point, each individual firm will be producing 10 units. And we already knew that based on this graph here, right? At a price of 80, each individual firm is producing 10 units. So what does that tell me about the market? How do we get to that point? Well, if I go back now to the market demand, I see that at a price of 80, the quantity that will be bought and sold in the market is going to be 3,100. So what that means is each firm is supplying 10 units, but total supply has to equal 3,100 at the market equilibrium. So we can now calculate the number of firms based on this. Remember what we had before, right? This equation that the total market quantity is equal to the number of firms times the individual quantity supplied. Well, we can rearrange that to find the number of firms is equal to the total market supply divided by the amount supplied by the individual firm, and see that in order to supply this market, I would need 310 firms. So what is happening? You'll recall that in the short run, we had 100 firms in the market, each producing 25 units. Well, they were earning positive profit, positive economic profit, meaning that it's more profitable to be in this industry than other industries. So more firms are going to want to come to this industry. And firms will continue to enter this industry until we get to 310 firms, at which point supply has increased so much that it's pushed price to $80, giving each individual firm zero profit. In other words, earning the same amount that they would in other industries. So in the next video, we're going to put that all together in the graph and then talk about kind of the takeaways from perfect competition.